Hi everyone, it's Heidi from flutterbyheidi.co.uk. I'm Heidi Smith. I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator based in the United Kingdom, and it's a Sunday, so that must mean it's a fun fold. And today I'm actually showing you a new early release bundle that's coming in the new spring catalogue. That's the January to June catalogue that'll be coming out later, but it's available from the 2nd of November, so this coming Tuesday, and it's beautiful Eden's Garden. Now they've released the stamp set and die bundle early, and some only available while until stocks run out, some beautiful paper that goes with it as well. Then we've got these lovely garden gems that you can see here. So this is the paper. So this is 12 by 12 paper. This is just a sample that I've popped here, and it's all very simple. It's evening evergreen, soft succulent and gold accents. So as you can see, a beautiful foiled paper, and then some generic designs on the other side. So you've got these lovely leaves with accents, and then evening evergreen, soft succulent on the reverse. So some smaller patterns as well, some graduated colour. I love this one, and lovely pattern on the reverse. This one, really striking gold paper, gold foiling, and then this one as well, so a lovely speckled pattern. So as always, lovely quality, and that is 12 by 12, so 2 sheets each of the 6 designs. So that's the paper, and as I say, that's only available while stocks last. Eden's Garden, this is the stamp set, and it's a distinctive one, but it's got lovely texture within it anyway. Really useful. I always say really useful stamp sets have we have both sentiments and images, and this one is great because, you know, dear friend, how are you? How useful is that at the moment? Hello there, sending hugs, you know, my heart is tied to yours, tug if you need anything, you know, let's celebrate everything. You know, just quite very useful sentiments that we haven't got from elsewhere, and then the dies that go with it. So you have got this, that's the card I'm going to be doing in a moment, a flip flap card. So super dies. We've got this lovely floral foliage wreath, this pretty little one, a foliage accent, a lovely edge with a stitched edge as well. A banner for our sentiments, and as you can see here, I've already been playing not just with the main colours but with some other colours too, so don't forget to hit the subscribe button and the bell so that you get notified when I do release those videos as well. So those are coming up, so lots of fun things to do. So the card, so this is what I call a flip-flap card. I don't know if I've created this one, honestly not sure, but do you know what? I just thought it was a kind of variation on a boho indigo card I did a little while ago. So you've got a lovely card front, as you can see here, using those gorgeous dies and those gemstones on the front. Then you open up, and I like cards like this sometimes if you want to write a really personal message in, and you don't always want it to be on show. And so you've got a lovely panel there, and then just flip that up, and then you can write your message or sentiment on the inside. So yeah, so that's the one. I mean, obviously you could, if you wanted to, have that on the front like that, but I rather liked having a sort of standard card, so that when you open it, it's like this, and say you're just getting that one, and it'll just stand up as normal. This sentiment's actually from the Pansies stamp set, but I'm going to use one of the ones from this stamp set on this one as well. So yeah, look at that, complete with obviously attached my hair to it. So that's the card we're going to be making. Hopefully you'll craft along too. I'm just going to talk through the measurements in centimetres. Be quite honest with you, I haven't yet worked them out in inches, but I will do for you, and I'll pop those on my blog. So just if you look in the description bar below this, you'll find the link to the particular blog post that it applies to. So to start off with, then you're going to need a card, just a quarter sheet of card, and that is 14.5 by 10.5, and that's our base. The next piece we need is 13.5 by 20 centimetres. And I'm just going to score that in half on the long edge at 10 centimetres. So that's our next layer that's going to go on the inside, on the front of that one. Other things I've used that you'll need. So I've used the tasteful labels for that label on the front. As you know, I always keep a little packet in there with my die cuts in, and I've just used this lovely stitched shape here. And I've also used for those rectangles, the Stitch So Sweetly, a really fabulously useful one with these super rectangles and these other stitched elements as well. And again, you can see I've always got a few spares in there to make card making that little bit quicker and easier when we get something dropped on us. So that's the card we're going to need. You're going to need 2 pieces of designer series paper for those triangles, and these are 10 centimetres by 6 centimetres, and you're just going to score on the short edge at 5 centimetres on both of those, like so. And then you're going to need another piece of DSP for the front, and this piece is 13 by 9.5, and that's the piece that's going to fit on the front of our card. So as you can see, on my original one I went for kind of the dark evening evergreen with the soft succulent, and this time I'm flipping that colour combination around, so we've got soft succulent with some evening evergreen on the top. Now, I've said before, I often don't do green. It's not a colour I naturally use very much, but I have to say I do like this evening evergreen and soft succulent combination. And on some of the other cards, when you use these dies with other colours, you can obviously add a pop of colour to it as well. So this is great for the foliage, but if you want, you can then add a pop of colour. So add your DSP onto the front of the folded piece of card. We then want to, before we want to, take our 2 pieces of DSP, and you're just going to fold those down the middle, like so. So just grab your bone folder. So I'm not scoring those, but just grab them and just reinforce those. And if needs be, just eke it so you get a nice point. You see there? And then fold that as well. So the same with your second piece. Move that out of the way for the moment. So again, I mean, if you want to, you can obviously measure to the centre at 5 centimetres in the middle there. But you can see, you know, it's quite straightforward just to do that. But I don't reinforce till I know I've got a nice point. Okay. Now, before I attach these, I'm just going to snip the corners off those, just miter them very slightly, and we're going to attach these to the back of this piece. So this is going to go like this, and now I'm not going to worry about butting it up too much, because actually you want it to be a slight distance away, because what you don't want to do is get too much bulk into that crease. So just add a little adhesive to glue our points down. Add as much or as little as you like there. So pop those down, and then I'm going to run my seal along here. So I find the best way is kind of add sort of a crease, fold it up and just line that up like so. You see there's sort of a slight gap there. And let's do the same on here. Oh, what I haven't done is cut my basic white. So just make sure it is sort of nice and straight. There we go. And because that's coming out, that's why I've made it slightly smaller, because that will just help fill in the before we attach it to here, so you get a nice border. So just add our seal to the back there. And then just centralise that onto our single layer. Okay, there we go. Now obviously we can then add this label to it, so the only glue you're going to want is on this top flap. And again, I'm eyeballing, but the great thing about this, obviously with those little scallops, is that does help you position it. Okay. So we do need a piece of basic white to go in the centre there. I've probably got one that's not far off the right size in my scraps. You see my scraps of basic white pouch. So you're going to need a piece that is around, it'll be 12.5 by 9 centimetres. So let's just chop that down to 9 by 12.5. She says optimistically, yes. So I've created, I've done that to, I've created quite a wide border, but that's so that you can really see that, and it also reduces the bulk at the top where you've got those layers. Okay, so now let's do some stamping. So we're going, this is our centre back panel. So what I want is for the foliage to peek either side of that. So I'm just going to take this lovely sprig here, and I'm going to, and they're red rubber, so they stamp absolutely beautifully. So just going to come in from each corner like so, and then I think I will use my small one. In fact, I've just used my shaded spruce by the looks of it. Oh no, it is soft succulent. Gosh, my soft succulent is very inky. I might need to take a bit of ink off that one, I think. Gosh, I thought that was my evening evergreen. It was so dark. And then again, you can just sort of come in with a little border of evening evergreen. And this one's got quite a nice little curve to it. There we go. Yes, my dark soft succulent, juicy, I think is the only best way to describe that. So again, when that's nice and dry, just takes a few seconds, just add some adhesive onto that. And we can add that piece to the centre back. You can see our card is starting to take shape. It's possibly not as straight as I might have liked it. Okay, that's not bad. Okay, so now we want to take our basic white panel, and again on this, what I did was I just did some bit of stamping using our various foliage ones. So again, soft succulent. Might in fact, it's coming in from there, and then again I think we'll use our smaller sprig on the corners. In fact, no, what I'm actually going to do is I'm actually going to use that, I think, in the centre. So what I'm actually going to do is add some sprigs to the centre, so then we can use some of our die cuts, and it'll just help give a little bit more dimension to it and a bit of interest. So I've die cut this little foliage piece from, again, out of the two colours that we've got. So I've got some evening evergreen and some soft succulent here. And again, working on the basis of odd numbers. I'm just going to poke out a couple of those little bits of die cut. I'm just going to add those in. There. So again, two ways to add these to your project. The first would obviously be to die cut them with some of the our double-sided self-adhesive sheets, and those would work just as well. The other way to add them would be to, obviously what I'm doing here is use a bit of my glue that is not cooperating. Obviously being third time's the charm, let's see. There we go, yes. I'm just using with my fine tip glue here. And I've got glue everywhere, typical, isn't it? There we go, right. Just hold that in place just a second. Again, just a little glue on the back of each of those. With the fine tip glue, I'll be honest with you, mine is always very runny because mine is sat next to a warm, in a warm room next to a warm radiator. So I just like to leave it to, if I can, to kind of sit for a few moments before I put it on. It just helps it adhere slightly. There we go. So there's, hold that in place. So there's our kind of our next layer. Again, I'm just going to glue that on flat because it's on the inside of the card. So again, you don't want to be building up with dimensionals on this particular piece because you've already got quite a bit of dimension with those extra layers of card as well. And so now we come to the fun bit of decorating the front panel of our card. So I have done the die cutting in advance, but this just cuts out this single pass, and you can see that just fits beautifully onto the front of our card. We've also got, she says, there's my, there's a dark green that I've got there, which I'm going to use with my label. And then I've also got a die cut sort of the banner piece on this one, and I did have another one which I think I've probably popped into my case. Here we go. I've got a second one out of Evening Evergreen because what I want to do here is kind of modifying the front of our labels to kind of give some layers. So what I'm actually going to do, I'll probably do that with the, yeah, I'm actually just going to cut about 1 centimetre, so 1/2 inch out of the middle of those. And I'm actually going to flip to layer these up so they're offset. So you can see there, hopefully. So it kind of creates a natural shadow. So again, you just come in with the glue on the back of the die cut that's going on the top. Managed to get my other fine tip working, and I'm just going to again use that central panel to line it up. Let me move that out of the way, more central, and then do the same on the other side. So again, I'm just going to pop those couple of die cuts pieces out and just layer that up again. And because that join is going to be behind our label, you won't then notice it. So like so. So let's do our stamping while that's drying. So I'm just going to use my Sending Hug sentiment, and I'm going to use my nice Evening Evergreen, really deep colour to kind of give that nice impression. Just centralise that. Lovely scripty font there. So pop that, allow that to dry. Obviously being, as I said, my ink pads are quite juicy of these ones. Obviously because being green I haven't used them as much. And while that, now I'm going to just modify this again, just to cut it around about the halfway point. And I shall sort of pop that around the edge, and then the same with the other side. So all I'm doing is I'm just going to add that little bit like so. So I'm just going to add a little bit of thin glue just to the outside edge of this die. So just getting that little bit that I want to come over onto the front, making that look a lot more difficult than it actually is. Just pop that on there. And then do the same on the other side. So again, just quickly add some glue onto that. Obviously going to have to do a bit of a cleaning out on my fine tip glue dispenser because it's not wanting to play today. There we go, right. And again, so I'm just going to snip off just those, probably again about 1 centimetre, because I don't want too much bulk. But again, just lifting that up, so I'm just going to pop that around the front. So then you have just a pretty frame around there. So pop that to one side just for a moment to allow that glue to dry. And then while that's drying, we can add our layer onto the front of our card. So again, this is really, it doesn't matter if you're overseas working in centimetres or inches, this works really well on either side of card front. So as you know, in the States your cards are slightly shorter but slightly wider, because you're using what we call letter size paper, and obviously in Europe we have standard A4, which is slightly longer and slightly narrow. No, it's not letter size at all. Yours is US A4, so that ours is ours is 11 3/4 and yours is 11 1/2. So, and ours is slightly narrower, 8 1/4, and yours is slightly wider, 8 1/2. But anyway, what I was trying to say is, whichever size cardstock you're using, this works. And as you can see, look at that, that just fits perfectly on the front there. And that's a lovely layer of dimension. And talking of dimension, now we're going to add some dimension by using our fabulous dimensionals, as always. By adding some to the back of this bar, sentiment bar, you know. And as you can see, I've done my usual. I've marked up on the back there to give me an idea of where that's going to sit. And even though that sort of doesn't look particularly even there, all I need to do now is just add some adhesive to the centre to just hold that all in place. So again, just add some adhesive, a bit of Tombow, and add sending hugs to the centre there. So I'm just pressing from the back because I've obviously already got my dimensionals on. And what I forgot to do as well was I actually added an extra couple of die cuts. So this is just if you've got some extras already cut, I'm poking out the extra bases, you can add those in just for a bit of interest down at the bottom there. And up at the top, or you can leave it without if you want to. All we need to do is just remove the backs off our dimensionals. Add our sentiment layer to the middle. And there we have our fun flip-flap card using the gorgeous new Eden's Garden suite. I'm just going to add a nice little gem to add a little bit of sparkle to the top there. And you'll see all I've done is I've just taken a couple of these lovely ones and added those, one on each side, on top of that die cut. And then these ones, which are kind of an iridescent, almost with a hints of greens, almost of reds coming in there as well. And as I said, this suite, it's like a mini suite. This early release will be available on Tuesday. So the links won't be there today, but pop back on Tuesday or give me a call if you want to order and I can give you a shout on Tuesday once they're released and available. But there you have a pair of lovely Eden's Garden cards using the Ever Eden DSP and some of our lovely garden gems, which I'm sure would be well received by anybody. You've got lots of space for personal messages inside that flip flap card, adding it a little bit of interest and a bit of fun. So thanks for watching. Do come back and see me again soon. Pop along to my blog or the links below on Tuesday to be able to purchase these items. And please do hit the subscribe button and that notification bell, and then you'll know when I next publish. Thanks for watching. See you soon. Bye.